Thank you for hearing the announcements and what is going on. Anyway, this particular message, you can learn a lot from these two testimonies. Let's begin. And the story goes back 6 years ago. I remember when I was in the shelter. I was homeless on the street. When I think back to this particular story, it's almost hard to believe what I went through and what I had to go through to be able to trust the Lord. I'm in the shelter, and everybody who's in this shelter, they're either handicapped and can't take care of themselves, alcoholic, drug addicts, a lot of people who just came out of jail and needed a place to stay because they had nowhere to stay when they got out of jail. And over half the people in there were like that. And needless to say, I get along with everyone. I didn't get along with these people very well. And it was at a time where I was really, searching for God at this particular point in my life. And in the morning, the guy said something to me. And I was like, I don't know what happened, but he's like, you come back tomorrow night. I'm gonna slit your throat in your sleep. And he was serious. And I was very upset, needless to say. And I left there, and I told the people, over at SS Social Services, I don't want to go back there. Send me to another shelter. And they did. Now, the very interesting thing about this whole experience is I wasn't any of those people that should be in a shelter. Nothing was wrong with me. I don't have a mental condition so far as of yet. They're coming out with new stuff on TV every day, so who knows? But, physically capable and able. And I was there. And I couldn't, why am I here? But I was going through this. So I was supposed to go to the shelter over in this other town. And the Holy Spirit was telling me to go back to the other one. Go back to the one in Uniondale. Now, the one I asked to go to was actually in Westbury. They sent me there. The one you want to go to in Uniondale is the best one. But because my life was on the line, I'm not going. And the Holy Spirit said, you need to go back. And I said, I'm not going back. And at the time, I was on this bicycle. And the fork broke in half on this bicycle. And later on that night, it was like 40 degrees out. And, it's one thing when you're moving around and you're outside, but it's another thing when you're laying still and you're trying to get sleep. It just all of a sudden becomes that much colder. And it's really interesting when you feel, you can say, I was cold and I felt it in my bones. That's cold. And I ended up sleeping the best I could outside, which was not fun. The next day, I go back to social services. They go, you didn't go to Westbury. I said, my bike broke. I would never have been able to walk there in time. It was 5 miles. So they sent me back to the one in Uniondale. And I said, fine. Because I gave up. And I was tired. And I needed to sleep. And before I went into that shelter, I said to myself, you know what? I don't care what happens to me. My life belongs to God. That's what I said. And I meant it. When I walked in that shelter, not only did the people not start with me, but they acted like I was their best friend. Which I thought was a little weird. But okay, that's cool. And to this day, believe it or not, you have people snoring so loud that they literally can make the air vibrate, which is not really set up for a good night's rest. But believe it or not, till this day, it was actually the best rest I ever had. I never slept any better. I was totally entrusted. I was totally trusting in the Lord, and I got the best night's sleep you could ever imagine. The next day, I'm feeling a little, you can say, confident, happy, more believing. And I said, okay, Lord. I remember specifically, this was on a Wednesday now. And I said, I need a place to live, I need the money for the place, and I need a job. And I was thinking, you know what? I could do that in 30 days. And I go, wait a second. Why should I think that? Nah. I went like this. I want that, Lord. And I want that by Friday. So that's 3 days. 2 nights, 3 days. So I go to the shelter. Not to the shelter. I mean, I go to social services, and somebody wrote me a letter in regards to get the money for a place to live. Now, the letter is messed up. And if it's not done picture perfect, and by their particular, you know what, you don't get the money. So I'm like, well, I know I'm not going to get the money this way. So I'm thinking, I give the letter anyway, and I'm waiting. So I'm waiting, and the Holy Spirit tells me, well, go to the job search and go check a job. And I'm thinking to myself, no. You can't do that. It's Wednesday. You got to go on Monday. That's when you're going to get the best jobs. Holy Spirit told me to go, and I'm thinking, you know what? I'll go. I went there. I made some calls. I landed up finding a job to a guy I used to work with at this old company. So I got a job. Yes. Very happy. So now I go back. And I go back in there, and I see the guy who's, I forgot what you call them, over at social services, and he's waiting for me. And he says, I've been waiting for you for close to an hour. Where have you been? I'm ready to go home. And I'm like, because I don't want to hear you say, no. So he goes, here's the check. I want to go. Sign here and leave. I said, I got the money? I said, okay. All right, cool. So I signed there, and I got the money. I'm really happy now. The next thing that happens is, now I got to go find jobs. Now, since I told the Lord I wanted this done in 3 days before I even went to DSS. I mean, social services. I went and got a bunch of listings for rooms. I call them. I find a place I can finally go to and check out. So I said, all right, I'll go see you tomorrow. Holy Spirit says, no, go see tonight. So I call back, and I asked to go, can I go see there tonight? And I'm glad I did. Because what happened was, other people were going to be coming. And I wouldn't have gotten the room because it was a good room and it was a good deal. So I got the room. So I'm like, I'm happy. I got this, I got that. But the problem was, even though I got the money from social services, it wasn't enough money for this room. And I told them, you have the money? I said, yeah. To be able to move in for this particular day. And I said, I'll have it. And I was upset because, my problem was why I was in the circumstances I was in to begin with was because of my lies. So the Holy Spirit said to say, yeah, I'll have it taken care of. I'll make sure I'll have the money. And I felt like I was lying, but that's what the Holy Spirit wanted me to say. So, okay. So, now I'm good. So what happens is, great, done. It's Wednesday. It's still Wednesday. I have a job. I got some money. And I even got a place in one day. Here's the interesting part, though. They wanted the money by Friday. How am I going to get the money? I have no idea. So Thursday came, no money. And I was nervous because Friday evening I had to go and give the money. So what happened was, you'll hear it in part 3.